it a Groundlings
Ladies
story?
and gentlemen, as part of the Jeremiah Show, welcome to It's Radio with TV's Tim Stack. Now here's the host of the show, a man who was twice told he was going to be a regular on a TV series, and the next day, both shows were canceled. It's TV's Tim Stack. Yay! Yay! Me again. You're so sick of me, but I keep coming back. Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of It's Radio with TV's Tim Stack. I'll quickly tell the story, and my guest Robin, I think, will get a kick out of it because it's so weird and TV-like. So, but because this happened to me twice, the same experience happened twice, where I came onto a show as a guest star, and it went really well. And after we were done filming, they said, not even during the filming, they said to me, "This is going so great. We really love you. We want to make you a series regular." So it happened to me on a show. My guest Robin Schiff might remember. There was a show called After MASH.
Yeah, of
Which
course.
came on after MASH.
I have some friends who are writers on that show.
Well, they really liked me for about 2 hours because what happened was I didn't have 2 episodes of After MASH. The character of Ernie, of course, you all remember. So I do Ernie, and then I come into work, and they say, "Tim, the network loves you. They want to make you a series regular." I said, "Oh my gosh, a series! This is After MASH. It's not quite MASH, but it's After MASH." I said, "Fantastic." The next day, I come to work again. We're sorry, the show's been canceled. So then I go on this other show called The Second Half. I had to write this one. I had to remember this one. I had to look it up. With John Mendoza. Do you remember this show at all, Robin? The Second Half. Comedian John Mendoza, really funny guy, really nice guy, had a series. So they brought me on as a guest star with, I'll think of my wife's name. And Wednesday, the network run through is done. This is on a Monday through Friday schedule. Wednesday, the network run through is done. And again, after the run through, they're like, "We're going to make you two regulars on the show. This is fantastic." Oh my gosh, that's great. We're going to be series regulars on the show. We come into work Thursday. Yeah, no, we've been canceled.
If I ever have a show, I'm not telling you you'll be a regular.
It's a guarantee for success.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm learning
from this podcast radio show.
That was my takeaway.
So let's do a little, we got a clip to introduce my guest.
Not a problem. You got so thin by then. I was so lucky getting mono. That was like the best diet ever.
Meet Romy and Michele.
Remember that time I barfed from really bad Mexican food? So gross. I hate throwing up in public. Me too.
They walk the walk.
God, this underwear is totally riding up my butt.
They talk the talk.
Romy, did you lose weight? All I've had to eat for the past 6 days are gummy bears, jelly beans, and candy corn. God, I wish I had your discipline.
But at their high school reunion,
Are you going?
I'd rather put this out in my right eye.
Okay.
they'll be in a class by themselves.
We can go to the reunion and just pretend to be successful. Oh my God.
Okay. Her IMDB credit, she has 24, which as a writer-producer is huge. I promise you. That's huge. It really is as a writer-producer. Obviously, she's the writer of Romy and Michele's high school reunion, writer of the film Loverboy, which is a very underrated film. And I remember when you got the order for that. That was very exciting. Executive producer of TV series Almost Perfect, The Bad Girl's Guide, currently on Emily in Paris. A fellow groundling from the old days. We're going to talk about that. Please welcome Robin Schiff. Yay!
Yay. Yay, me.
Yay, you. Thank you. Thank you, Robin, again. My brother and I went to a strike day one day, saw Robin, and she said she would do this, so I'm very appreciative. How are you? You were striking this morning.
I was striking this morning. It was warm, but I've met people that I really like on the picket lines, and writers are just the best people. And, there is a social aspect to it. People are very unified, and that's a good feeling, but I don't see how we're going to get out of this. So that'll be interesting.
Well, let's talk about, I want to talk about that in the third segment. We do 138 segments on now.
Oh, okay. All right. Great.
So you're going to be here for a couple of days. No, we'll do that. I want to talk about that in the third segment because it's current and you have experience from the previous strike as being a member of the negotiating committee. So there's
Right.
a little bit of experience, certainly more than mine. So, but I want to go back because we met at the Groundlings, and I kept thinking when I met you, I think I remember you having sort of a career before the Groundlings. Is that? Yeah.
I
Talk about that.
was making a living as a writer. I got into the Writers Guild in 81.
Wow.
So I know, wow is right. I can't even believe it. But so I was making a living for 8 years writing stuff that didn't get made. So, my parents had no idea what I did and didn't know how I was affording to live. And when I look back on it, I can't believe that I kept going, but I was making a living. So when I was in the Groundlings, I was probably making, the TV movie was maybe 50,000 or 60,000. I was like the rich one at the Groundlings.
Oh, you were beyond rich. I think you owned a car outright.
I owned a car outright.
Right. I really do remember that because most Groundlings, like, they stumble in off the street. They're partially homeless. It's,
They were selling, one of them, what Judy was selling chipwiches.
that's such a great Hollywood story, selling chipwiches at the La Brea tar pits. But that's the normal Groundling thing where people are, they have jobs. I was a waiter when I first got on the Groundlings. But you came in with a career, and I remember thinking, like, oh my God, what is she doing here? Like, and but then you took that and made it even more successful. So we can talk about I want to talk about the Groundlings a little bit more in the next segment, but talk about Romy and Michele, because it really is a classic movie. That is a classic comedy. It's almost like, it's not almost like, my wife and daughter will get into bed and smoke weed together and watch that movie. Can I say smoke weed on this show? We're in California. It's legal.
Well, you can tell them an interesting fact that not that many people know is I wrote a lot of that movie high.
There you go. What a coinkydink.
What a coinkydink. So it is a good movie to watch high.
But it really is. And I feel like, there's so many sort of like male movies like that, old school and Kingpin and sort of male driven. And I just love that it's female driven, but just as funny, just as equally funny and outrageous. So talk about that, how that happened, because it's a Groundlings movie. There were three movies that came out of the Groundlings: Romy and Michele, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and Casual Sex. And you were lucky to do one of them. So anyway, I'm talking way too long. Tell us about that. How it happened.
It really did start at the Groundlings. Judy Toll, another Groundling, and I did a scene that was two women talking about getting respect in the workplace as they were changing clothes to go to a pickup bar. And so it was just this sort of dilemma of wanting to be taken seriously. Oh, and the scene involved the same guy who I wanted to take me seriously, I had a crush on. So I wanted to sort of write about how confusing it was at that time, relationships between men and women. And then I decided it took place in a woman's bathroom. I turned that into a play.
Which, just to interrupt, with a lot of Groundling sketches turned into plays, some of which were lucky enough to become movies like yours.
Right, exactly. And I had 5 Groundlings, or people either in the school or in the company in the play. I had Bridget Sienna, Kate Benton, Lisa Kudrow, Christy Mellor.
Wasn't Rita Wilson in the play?
She was only in a reading of it.
Okay.
I forget who the 5th Groundling was.
Was Dee Dee Howard in it?
No.
Okay.
But Lisa Kudrow's first audition on the planet Earth was for me. She was just amazing. So I wrote this play that took place in a woman's bathroom at a pickup bar, but I decided I wanted it to be one long scene. In other words, I didn't want blackouts. So the main characters would go off into the bar, shit would happen. Am I allowed to say that
You
word?
just did. We'll take it out though.
Right. Stuff would happen off stage. And then I needed filler for on stage. And there used to be a bar called Nikki Blair's.
Yes.
You would drive by Nikki Blair's on the Sunset Strip, and there would be friends waiting to get in, and they would be wearing different versions of the same outfit. So the first iteration of Romy and Michele, and you know what? Can I share? I should have given you pictures because I have early pictures of Lisa Kudrow and Christy Miller as Romy and Michele in Ladies' Room. I didn't even think of giving those to you. But so I came up with these characters that were just these two completely just disgusting best friends who went to the bar looking for guys, and their whole dialogue was, that guy you were talking to was cute. He was cute, really cute. So what's he do? He works at a bank. Ew, bank teller, bad job. It was very, very, very funny in the play. It was all about what's he do, good job, bad job. We filmed all that and took it all out of the movie because it made them very unlikable. Once they became the main characters, as secondary characters,
Can I interrupt for 1 second? Because I was always curious how they became the lead characters for the movie, when in the play they're sort of the comedy relief almost.
This was unique in my very long career in that the characters took on a life of their own, starting with me coming up with them. They were girls who would go to clubs, and I never went to clubs. So I was like, I have to do research. I go to, remember Carlos and Charlie's? Also,
sure, yeah. Also on Sunset, yes.
Yeah. So I go to Carlos and Charlie's. I go into the ladies' room, and I hear these two girls. Oh my God, I hate my hair. Your hair, my hair. I'd trade my hair for your hair in 2 seconds. Take my hair. And that was the whole conversation. And on the way home, I literally hear talking in my head, which is that thing that I just pitched about that guy.
Yeah, sure.
And then one of the first things I came up with was, I hate throwing up in public, me too. But anyway, to answer your question, the very first night at our very first preview, Romy and Michele enter and get entrance applause.
Wow.
And to this day, whatever it was about those characters, people have responded from the first production, which was at the Tiffany Theater, also on the Sunset Strip. We got an NBC pilot that Lisa Kudrow and Christy Miller starred in, because Christy played Romy in the play.
Right.
Another person I found at the Groundlings through Tracy Newman. And
Christy Miller was the other Groundling.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
She used to do a really funny bit about having mom. Remember, like, oh, moms, you know how they hand you, she was like a psychotic stand-up comic. You know how to hold your hand over a flame? Oh, moms, they're too much. She was
she was great. So I did a pilot. Then years later, my agent submitted Ladies' Room, which was what the play was called, as a writing sample to 2 female Disney executives, and they read it. Again, minor characters, and they were like, we think this could be a female Wayne's World.
Oh, that's great.
Called me in, and my first reaction was, these characters, I don't see how they can be the center of a movie. They weren't dimensional enough. And one of the producers of the movie was a guy named Barry Kemp, who's started out as my mentor and now is a dear friend.
Lives in Santa Barbara.
He lives in Santa Barbara. He sort of knew that they had to be more dimensional. And I came up with the idea of the high school reunion. And what made me laugh was the idea of these 2 people who are perfectly happy, and they don't realize that they haven't amounted to anything until they fill out that questionnaire. That was my original idea.
Right.
And before that, I'd been thinking Romy and Michele go to college, Romy and Michele go to Japan. You know, I didn't know what to do with them.
No, it's perfect. It's the perfect setup for those 2. And what you said too, because I always love characters, as you know, from characters of the Groundlings, who are they're kind of delusional, like they don't have a clue, but they think they do. They think they've got it all, and then they fill out this questionnaire.
I love to write delusional characters.
Yeah.
They're so much fun. And this was, I always thought of it as like the first 10 minutes of the movie are just getting to know the characters. There's no plot at all. And it was like Adam and Eve and the apple. And then when they find out about the reunion, they start going on this sort of descent, or at least Romy does, and brings Michele along with her. Yeah, I worked on that movie on and off for 5 years. It was in development for 5 years. One of the years they fired me off the movie and some guy came in and rewrote it. And then we had Lisa Kudrow and Janine Garofalo attached. Neither one of them would do the other script, which was amazing. And they had to bring me back.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay, perfect time. We're going to take our first break. I'm talking to Robin Schiff, writer of Romy and Michele's high school reunion, among other things, and Emily in Paris, which you can watch right now on Netflix. I'll give a little plug. My show Sprung on Amazon Freebie. Not my show, but I worked on it. Very fun. And we'll be right back. You're listening to It's Radio with TV's Tim Stan.